In a world that never stops moving, where distractions chase you from morning until night, it's easy to forget who you are and even easier to lose control over your own life. You wake up already behind, rush through your day without intention, and fall asleep wondering why you still feel unfulfilled. But what if the answer isn't outside? What if the shift you're searching for begins not with more effort, but with deeper awareness? There is a path ancient, tested, and powerful, followed by warriors not of war, but of discipline, clarity, and inner peace. A path that does not require you to escape life, but to face it with open eyes and a steady heart. That path is built on 5 simple yet profound virtues, and those who choose to live by them do not need to shout their strength, they carry it in silence. If you're tired of reacting, tired of being pulled by emotions, tired of chasing what never satisfies, then listen closely. These 5 Shaolin virtues are not philosophy, they are tools, they are weapons, they are guides, and when embodied fully, they can transform not just how you live, but who you are. Discipline is often misunderstood. Many see it as something harsh, something forced, even something that limits one's freedom. But the truth is, discipline is not about restriction. It is not about punishing the self or being hard for the sake of being hard. Discipline is a choice, a conscious decision to create structure, not because life demands it, but because you value the strength and clarity that comes with it. In the Shaolin way, discipline is not a rule to be followed. It is a path to be honored. Every day, from the moment the body wakes, there is a choice to follow the ease of comfort or to walk into discomfort for the sake of growth. The one who chooses to wake before the sun, to face the cold, to sit in silence, to move the body with intention, that one is not following orders. That one is cultivating presence. The world is full of distractions. The mind jumps, the body resists, but discipline teaches the practitioner to return again and again to the moment, to the breath, to the purpose. That repetition, that return, is where the real transformation begins. To the untrained eye, discipline looks repetitive, boring even, but look deeper. Inside repetition is refinement. The same movement practiced 1,000 times becomes art. The same meditation practiced each morning becomes clarity. The same meal, prepared with care, becomes nourishment not just for the body, but for the soul. Discipline creates depth. Where others skim the surface, the disciplined mind dives deep. It sees the layers, feels the energy, understands the process. And in that understanding, strength is born. There are many who wait for motivation. They say, "When I feel like it, I will begin." But feelings are like clouds, they come and go. They shift with the winds of emotion, with the noise of the world, with the chaos of thought. Discipline does not wait for permission. It does not negotiate with laziness. It does not argue with fear. It acts consistently, quietly, with precision, not because the day is perfect, but because the purpose is clear. This is why discipline is freedom. A person without discipline is a slave to impulse. They are pulled by desires, trapped by cravings, weakened by the habit of comfort. But the one who practices discipline, who sets intention and walks toward it daily, is no longer a prisoner of the mind. They are free to act with purpose, free to say no when others follow, free to rise above what once held them down. That freedom is not given by anyone, it is earned. Discipline trains the body, yes. But more than that, it sharpens the mind. It creates a mental posture, an internal readiness. When the storms of life come, and they will, the disciplined one does not collapse. They do not panic, because they have practiced calm. They have met resistance before, many times, in the silence of their own training. The body has been pushed, the mind has been tested, and each time they stood back up. That memory lives in the muscles. That strength lives in the breath. In discipline, there is also humility, because every time you repeat a form, you are reminded, I am not done. Every time you sit in meditation, you realize there is more to learn. Discipline teaches you to bow to the process, to submit to something greater than your own ego. And in doing so, you grow not just in skill, but in spirit. The disciplined person does not seek praise. Their reward is not applause. Their reward is progress, inner clarity, stability, peace. The journey of discipline is not without struggle. There are days when the body aches, days when the mind rebels, days when the path feels too narrow, too steep, but those days are not failures. They are part of the practice. They are the fire in which resolve is forged. On those days, when you continue anyway, when you move even if it's slow, when you sit even if the mind is loud, you deepen your relationship with yourself. You show your own soul that you can be trusted. There is a story in every repetition. Each moment of practice is a dialogue between you and your deeper self. The surface self may want comfort, may want escape, but the deeper self wants excellence. It wants truth, and truth does not come through ease. It comes through consistent, intentional effort. That is what discipline gives you, not a perfect life, but a clear life. Not a life without pain, but a life with purpose. When others are lost in confusion, discipline gives direction. When others are distracted by noise, discipline creates silence. When others seek shortcuts, discipline honors the path. And that path, walked slowly and mindfully, leads to transformation. Not of the outer world, but of the inner world where all things begin. Through discipline, you learn that the greatest strength is not force, but consistency. The most powerful act is not dramatic, but silent. And the most important commitment is not to a routine, but to your own evolution. Day by day, breath by breath, action by action. This is the way. In the stillness of a mountain, when the wind moves slowly through the leaves, nothing seems to happen. The stone remains unmoved, the trees barely sway, and yet, year after year, the mountain changes. The stone wears down, the roots grow deeper, the river carves its path. Patience is not weakness. It is not waiting with passivity. It is active endurance. It is presence that refuses to give in to urgency. To truly walk the path of transformation, one must understand the rhythm of nature. The bamboo does not grow overnight. For years, there may be nothing visible above the ground. But beneath the surface, the roots are extending, strengthening, preparing. And when the moment is right, it rises tall, fast, powerful, but only because it first remained patient. This is how deep change happens. Silently, gradually, with unwavering commitment. In a world addicted to speed, patience becomes a rare form of strength. People chase quick results, immediate answers, fast success. They run from discomfort. They fear the unknown. They want guarantees. But life, real life, does not operate on demand. The body heals at its own pace. The mind unfolds its layers over time. The spirit awakens not with force, but with space. Patience is the courage to give things the time they need, not the time we wish. When the mind is restless, when the emotions boil, when nothing seems to move forward, patience is the force that keeps you rooted. It is not the absence of effort, it is the presence of trust. Trust in the process. Trust in the training, trust in yourself. The tree does not grow by pulling at its branches. It grows by remaining grounded, by allowing each season to pass, the cold of winter, the bloom of spring, the heat of summer. The shedding of autumn, nothing is rushed. Everything has its time. To practice patience is to become aware of how deeply conditioned we are to seek control. We want to know what will happen. We want to make things bend to our will. But there are many things in this life that cannot be forced. Healing, understanding, mastery. These things unfold only when we create the space for them, when we show up with consistency, not urgency, when we remain steady, even in the face of uncertainty. The impatient mind believes that action must always yield results, But in true practice, many actions are invisible. The progress is internal. You sit, and the mind is noisy. You move, and the body resists. You repeat, and nothing changes. But underneath, something is shifting. The inner noise is being seen. The body is becoming aware. The repetition is laying foundation. What appears as stillness is not emptiness, it is ripening. There is a kind of discipline in patience, a strength that does not boast, a quiet dignity. When others react, you remain composed. When others quit, you stay. When others rush, you breathe. That stillness becomes your power, because what you build with patience, you build with depth. And what is built with depth cannot be easily broken. There will be moments when you question your progress, when you wonder if the practice is working, when your efforts feel invisible. In those moments, return to the breath, to the step, to the silence. Understand that transformation is not always dramatic. Sometimes it is so subtle, you only realize it later when you no longer react to the same triggers, when your presence becomes calm even in chaos, when your thoughts are no longer your master. This is the fruit of patient work. Patience also softens the ego. The ego wants to achieve, to conquer, to show, but patience humbles you. It shows you that time is a greater teacher than ambition, that rushing leads to shallow victories. That true mastery requires the humility to be a beginner again and again. When you embrace patience, you let go of the need to prove and instead focus on the need to understand, to embody, to evolve. The most powerful transformation often happens in silence, not when you're celebrated, but when no one is watching, when you rise before the sun and move your body, when you sit with your thoughts and observe instead of judging, when you breathe through discomfort instead of running from it. These moments seem small, but they are the building blocks of resilience. And resilience is not built quickly, it is forged in time. Patience teaches you to listen, not just with your ears, but with your being, to listen to the signals of the body, to listen to the wisdom of the breath, to listen to the lessons of struggle. When you are patient, life becomes a teacher. Every delay becomes a chance to practice stillness. Every obstacle becomes a test of presence. Every setback becomes a mirror to your attachment. There is a deep peace that comes from living with patience. You no longer rush to the next thing. You no longer compare your journey with others. You begin to trust the pace of your own growth, to honor your own rhythm. And when you walk like this, rooted, steady, patient life begins to respond. Not with speed, but with depth, with meaning, with truth. The seed contains the tree, but it does not become the tree in one day. It must face the dark, the cold, the unknown, but it trusts the process. So should you. Respect is not a posture of submission, nor is it a gesture of weakness. It is a deep recognition and acknowledgement of the sacredness that exists in everything. It is the silent understanding that nothing in this world truly belongs to us, yet everything is connected to us. In the Shaolin path, respect is not reserved for grand ceremonies or formal greetings. It is a way of living, an invisible thread woven through every movement, every breath, every interaction. When the foot touches the ground before training, it does not stomp, it lands with awareness. When the hand performs a movement, it is not forceful, it is mindful. Respect lives in the details, how you treat your body, how you care for your tools, how you enter a space, how you meet another person's eyes. There is no need to speak it, because true respect is felt. It vibrates in your presence. It shapes your energy. To respect something is to pay attention. Where there is no respect, there is carelessness, distraction, superficiality. But where respect exists, depth follows. You begin to notice the breath. You begin to notice how your thoughts move, how your emotions arise, how your actions impact the world around you. Respect creates a field of awareness. It slows you down, not to hinder you, but to align you. Many misunderstand respect as something that must be earned. But on this path, you offer it first not because the other is perfect, but because you are present. Because you recognize that everything and everyone carries a lesson. The difficult teacher, the stranger on the road, the silence in the forest, even the pain in the body. You do not have to agree with everything, but you can meet everything with presence. And presence is the highest form of respect. When respect is cultivated inwardly, it naturally flows outward. You begin by respecting your own life, the vessel that carries you, the breath that sustains you, the thoughts that shape your reality. You treat your body not as a machine to be pushed, but as a companion to be trained with care. You treat your mind not as a battlefield, but as a space for clarity. You listen to your needs, you honor your limits. And in doing so, you become more refined. Outwardly, respect brings harmony. When you greet someone with respect, you are not just honoring them, you are honoring the space between you. You remove the tension of ego. You dissolve the need to be superior. You create connection without words, and this connection is what allows learning to flow. It is what allows energy to remain calm, even in conflict. Respect disarms aggression without needing to fight. In moments of disagreement, respect prevents escalation. It allows you to observe without reacting, to listen without defending, to respond with clarity instead of emotion. This is not weakness. It is strength, the kind of strength that does not shake when challenged. It is the stillness of a mountain in the face of wind. You may not always agree with others, but you can respect their journey, their story, their struggle. This humility opens the heart. There is also a respect toward the invisible, toward time, toward effort, toward tradition, the rituals passed down through generations, the teachings written by those long gone, the silence between the sounds, the pauses between movements, the stillness between thoughts. Everything has its place, nothing is wasted. The practitioner bows not to the object, but to the essence within it, to the wisdom that lives in the unseen. In the training hall, respect is discipline in motion. You do not throw your uniform, you fold it. You do not rush the form, you repeat it with care. You do not enter the room with chaos in the mind, you arrive with stillness. Each action becomes a meditation. Each gesture becomes an offering. You are not performing, you are aligning with something greater than your own convenience. This is how training becomes sacred. Even outside the hall, the same principle applies. How you walk, how you speak, how you eat. Each moment offers an opportunity to cultivate respect, not out of obligation, but out of reverence for life itself. When you drink water, you are not simply hydrating. You are recognizing the element that nourishes you. When you clean your space, you are not simply organizing, you are honoring your environment. Respect transforms routine into ritual. In relationships, respect becomes the ground for trust. Without it, love becomes control, communication becomes conflict, leadership becomes domination. But when respect is present, you create space for the other to exist fully. You do not try to change them. You try to understand them. You speak with kindness not because they deserve it, but because you have cultivated it. You listen with patience because you value their words. This path does not require loud declarations. It requires quiet consistency. You do not need to tell the world you are respectful. Let it be seen in your eyes, in your posture, in your actions, in the way you bow, not just with your body, but with your presence. The deeper your respect, the deeper your understanding, and the deeper your understanding, the more peaceful your path becomes. Respect is not a lesson you learn once. It is something you return to every day. When the mind becomes arrogant, respect humbles it. When the heart becomes closed, respect softens it. When the body becomes tired, respect reminds it to rest, not quit. It is a gentle guide, a quiet strength, a silent teacher, and those who carry it carry a light that no darkness can extinguish. Gratitude is not an emotion that arrives when life becomes perfect. It is not something that only visits in moments of celebration, success, or comfort. Gratitude is a way of seeing, a way of aligning with the present moment, exactly as it is, without demanding it to be different. It is a quiet realization that what is here, right now, is already enough to begin. In this way, gratitude becomes the foundation of strength, not weakness. When the mind is always searching for more, it becomes restless. It begins to chase more success, more validation, more power. But the more you chase, the more distant peace becomes. The more you expect life to meet your every demand, the more you suffer. Gratitude breaks this cycle. It brings the attention away from what is lacking and returns it to what is present. Not because the present is perfect, but because it is real, and realness is where growth begins. In the practice of martial discipline, it is easy to focus on progress, to want to move faster, strike harder, meditate deeper. But when the practitioner pauses and breathes and gives thanks not for how far they've come, but simply for the opportunity to practice, something shifts. The training is no longer a task. It becomes a gift. The body, even with its aches, becomes a companion. The breath, even when labored, becomes a teacher. Gratitude turns repetition into reverence. It is through gratitude that the mind learns humility. To be thankful for the small, to appreciate the unnoticed, to see the sacred in the simple, this humbles the ego. The ego wants to take credit, to stand above others, to claim superiority, but gratitude dissolves this illusion. It reminds you that you did not rise alone, that every skill, every insight, every breakthrough stands on the shoulders of unseen support, the teachers who came before, the traditions that held the wisdom, the silence that allowed clarity, the failures that shaped strength. A person who is truly grateful walks differently. They do not move with entitlement, they move with reverence. They do not demand from life, they serve it. This does not mean they stop striving. It means they strive from a different energy, not out of deficiency, but out of alignment. When you are grateful, your actions are rooted in abundance. You move because you can. You speak because there is something worth sharing. You train because each day is an opportunity, not a burden. Gratitude also teaches resilience. When challenges arise, and they always do, the ungrateful mind collapses. It sees only what is missing, only what has gone wrong. But the grateful mind finds the lesson. It does not ignore pain, but it does not become defined by it. It looks at difficulty and says, this too is part of the path. There is gratitude even for the obstacle, because the obstacle carries wisdom. There is gratitude even for the delay, because the delay cultivates patience. There is gratitude even for the loss, because it deepens presence. The breath itself is a teacher of gratitude. You do not control when it comes. You do not control when it goes. Yet it sustains you, silently, every moment. To bring awareness to the breath is to begin recognizing the miracle of life itself. Without effort, without force, something inside you continues. When the practitioner bows, it is not a ritual of tradition alone. It is a recognition of this mystery, of this gift, of this moment. When you eat, are you aware of what it took for the food to reach your plate? The soil, the rain, the sun, the hands that planted, the ones that harvested, the ones that carried and prepared it. Behind even the smallest meal is a web of life. To eat with gratitude is to eat with awareness. It changes how you consume. It changes how you live. Gratitude creates responsibility not out of guilt, but out of honor. You begin to take care of what you once took for granted. And what about the people, the ones who support you, challenge you, listen to you, train with you, walk beside you even in silence? Gratitude does not wait for grand gestures. It sees value in the quiet presence of others. It honors effort. It honors sincerity. A simple word, a sincere nod, a mindful thank you. These are not small acts. These are acts that build trust. Gratitude nurtures connection not just between people, but between hearts. Many seek peace, but they look in the wrong direction. They think peace will come when the world bends to their will, but peace is not the result of control. Peace is the result of gratitude, of releasing the need to change everything, of seeing clearly what is already here, of letting go of constant dissatisfaction and returning to presence. In presence, there is enough. In enough, there is strength. When you walk with gratitude, life slows down. Not because you are less ambitious, but because you are more awake. You begin to notice the texture of the air, the way light falls on a surface, the way the wind moves through the trees. You begin to live, not just exist. You begin to appreciate, not just acquire, and this appreciation brings clarity. It brings intention. It brings depth. Gratitude is not a temporary state. It is a lifelong companion. It does not remove the storms, but it reminds you to feel the rain. It does not erase the struggle, but it reminds you of your capacity to endure. Gratitude is the thread that ties you to the present moment, the only place where transformation is possible, the only place where strength is cultivated, the only place where life truly unfolds. The journey of self-mastery does not begin with the world outside. It begins in silence. It begins when the noise of the world becomes so loud that you finally turn inward and ask, who is leading my life, me or my emotions? Me or my thoughts? Me or the habits I repeat without awareness? Mastery is not about controlling others. It is about understanding oneself so completely that you are no longer a slave to your own impulses. And this understanding does not happen quickly. It requires commitment, clarity, and consistent observation. The mind is powerful, but when left unchecked, it becomes chaotic. One thought leads to another, one emotion fuels the next, and soon, a person becomes entangled in stories that are not real. Self-mastery is the art of stepping back. It is the ability to watch the mind without being pulled into its current, to see a thought arise and not follow it, to feel an emotion and not be consumed by it. This distance does not make you cold, it makes you free. The body also carries its own wisdom. It speaks through sensation, through posture, through breath. But often, it is ignored. People live disconnected from their physical form, treating it either as a tool to be pushed or a burden to be fixed. Self-mastery requires a return to the body. It is the discipline of listening, noticing how you sit, how you breathe, how you move. When you bring awareness into the body, you begin to notice patterns of tension, of fatigue, of imbalance. And once noticed, you can begin to refine them. There is no self-mastery without discipline, not discipline imposed from the outside, but one born from within. A quiet voice that says, I will wake up now, I will move with intention, I will eat what nourishes me, I will speak with honesty, I will rest when needed. Discipline is the path that allows clarity to emerge. Without it, the mind wanders endlessly, and the body follows. With it, both become aligned, not rigid, but responsive. Discipline is not about punishment, it is about care. Habits shape who you become. Every day, the actions you repeat are writing your character. But most habits are unconscious. They come from conditioning, from fear, from comfort. Self-mastery requires that you bring those habits into the light. You look at them not with judgment, but with curiosity. Why do I react this way? Why do I avoid this task? Why do I speak these words when silence would be better? These questions are not to shame yourself, but to understand. And through understanding, change becomes possible. There is also the matter of choice. At every moment, you are choosing. Even in inaction, you are choosing. The path of self-mastery sharpens your awareness of this. It brings you into contact with the space between stimulus and response, the place where freedom lives. When someone speaks harshly, you can choose to react with anger or to respond with presence. When fear arises, You can choose to avoid or to investigate. These choices build momentum. Over time, they shape your destiny, and each choice, no matter how small, matters. The ego resists this work. It wants to blame, it wants to project, it wants others to change so that you don't have to. But the path inward reveals that no one else is responsible for your peace. No one else can give you purpose. No one else can walk your path. This realization is both humbling and empowering. Humbling because you can no longer hide behind excuses. Empowering because you no longer need to wait for anything outside of you to change. You are the source of your own transformation. Stillness becomes essential, not stillness as escape, but stillness as inquiry. When you sit in silence, with no distractions, the truth of who you are begins to rise. You see the thoughts that loop, the fears that grip, the attachments that bind, and instead of running, you observe, not to suppress them, but to see them clearly. In this seeing, they begin to lose power, and what remains is presence, a calm awareness that does not need to control everything, because it trusts what is. Self-mastery is not about perfection. It is not a fixed state that one arrives at. It is a path that unfolds with each moment of awareness. Some days will be clear, others cloudy. Some habits will fall away easily, others will return again and again. But each time you return to presence, you are practicing mastery. Not mastery over life, but mastery within life. You stop seeking to dominate the outer world and start refining the inner one. That is where true power lives. When anger arises, do you act it out, or do you hold it gently and investigate its root? When desire pulls you, do you follow blindly, or do you pause and ask what lies beneath it? These questions are not punishments. They are invitations. Invitations to meet yourself more deeply, to see your own patterns, not with shame, but with sincerity. Self-mastery begins where self-honesty begins. This path is not lonely. It is solitary, yes, because no one can do the inner work for you. But as you grow in mastery, your presence changes. Others feel it. You speak less, but your words carry more weight. You act with precision, not reaction. You listen more deeply, not just with ears, but with attention. This quiet influence is not forced, it is earned through practice. And perhaps the greatest realization of self-mastery is this, that the one you are trying to master is not your enemy. Your mind, your body, your emotions, they are not problems to be solved, but energies to be understood. They do not need to be silenced. They need to be integrated, honored, refined. When you walk this path, you are not trying to become someone else. You are returning to who you have always been, but without distortion, without illusion. Clear, awake, free. When these 5 virtues **, discipline, patience, respect, gratitude, and self-mastery ** are embodied, they do not merely improve your life. They transform it from the inside out. Each one is a gate, a discipline of the body, a tempering of the mind, a softening of the ego, and an awakening of the spirit. Walk through these gates, and you will not just live, you will live **, with presence **, with clarity **, and ** with silent strength **. The path is not always easy, but it is **, simple **, step by step, breath by breath, virtue by virtue. The Shaolin way is not about becoming someone different. It is about peeling away the unnecessary so that your true self-focused, calm, strong, and aware can emerge. May your journey be filled with awareness, and may you honor the practice in both stillness and motion. Thank you for walking this path, not just for yourself, but for everyone your energy touches. Good luck, and remember, the power is already within you. Just stay consistent and return to it always.